It's high noon.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Broncos Gaming World. Today, we're taking a look at the Primaris Psyker for the Astra Militarum in 10th edition Warhammer 40k. We're also going to look at an old Warhammer Fantasy Battles Empire Grand Theagonist model that I'm using as my Primaris Psykers, and I'll probably go ahead and duplicate him as a Regimental Preacher as well, so stay tuned. All right, everybody, here it is. This is the Grand Theagonist Volkmar from the Imperial War Altar from the old school Warhammer Fantasy Battles Armies of the Empire line. I painted him up using almost exclusively Army Painter's Speed Paint 2.0. All the reds started out as Murder Scene, and then I used Poppy Red, Bright Red, and then a slight coat of Nuclear Sunrise to kind of get to the top edges. Then I used the Talos bronze for the little tassels on the bottom. The arms here are the broadsword silver, and then his staff isn't a speed paint 2.0. It is, I think it's just the shining gold with a Nuln Oil wash on it. Overall, I'm happy with it. It isn't one of my best, if I'm being 100% honest, but overall I am pretty happy with it. Alright, so here we have the data sheet for the Primaris Psyker. Stat line is pretty typical for your Imperial Guard, just like anything else. Move 6, toughness 3, 5 plus save. He has 3 wounds because he is a character model. Leadership 7, and an objective control of 1. So, what really makes the Psykers a pretty special thing for the Imperial Guard army is they've got the psychic power to allow them to cast their gun, which that's how psychic powers work for the most part in 10th edition 40k, is that you either have some kind of like aura ability that it does, or in these guys' case, they have let's psychically cast a gun, which their gun is the Psychic Maelstrom Witchfire, is a blast, which is nice, devastating wounds, which is amazing, and then it's just got the psychic keyword that just means that anything that can stop psychic abilities or is affected by psychic abilities, this thing works in that way. Psychic Maelstrom Witchfire has a range of 18, which is a little stubby, a little short, but that's okay. The regular Witchfire, not the focus Witchfire, has die 6 attacks, hits on 3s, strength 6 minus 2 AP, and does 1 damage. And then there's the focused Witchfire, which is pretty much the only way I would ever really use it, because this does make sure that you get the job done when you actually do hit with it. Has the same range, 18 inches. You get 3 extra attacks with it. You get die 6 plus 3. Still hits on 3s. Still strength 6. Still minus 2 AP. But you get extra damage out of it. And with them being devastating wounds, it means that they don't get a save of any kind against it. So when you do successfully get this off and you hit with it, you're likely going to kill whatever it is that you shot, at least as far as an infantry is concerned. But because it causes devastating wounds, there's a good shot that you can do some damage to vehicles and stuff too, even with it just being strength 6. You're still going to have a shot at wounding it. It'll wound on 5s, but your 6s will end up just auto wounding whatever it is that you're attacking. And then even in melee, these guys are actually pretty decent. Their force weapon is psychic. It's a melee attack, 3 attacks, hits on 4s, strength 6. AP minus 1, it does die 3 damage, so you have a shot even in melee of doing some damage, killing some 3. I mean, you've got a realistic shot of even taking out some heavier infantry like Terminators and stuff. Die 3 damage, you roll 5 or 6 on your damage roll, you're going to take them down. The Primaris Psykers also have some decent ability, actually really good abilities. Their core ability is leader, so you can attach them to other squads. I'll go over which squads those are here shortly. And then his other 2 abilities are the Malign Wardings. Says while this model is leading a unit, models in that unit have feel no pain 4+ against psychic attacks. That's not super relevant unless you're playing against like Eldar or Thousand Sons or somebody like that. You're not going to get too much psychic attack spam, but it is a nice little extra. And then the actual real solid ability is the Psychic Barrier. It says at the start of your opponent's shooting phase, you toss a die 6, and on a 1, the Psyker's unit suffers die 3 mortal wounds. And on a 2 or better, until the end of the phase, the models in that unit get a 4+ invulnerable save. So twice a turn, you're gonna roll hazardous because that's basically what the psychic barrier does too. Is it's roll hazardous, and if you fail it, you suffer die 3 mortal wounds. Well, you're also gonna roll hazardous using the second maelstrom focused witchfire, which is easily the better version of that. But the psychic barrier allowing you to get a 4+ invulnerable save in a shooting phase is ridiculous. That's fantastic. It's really, really allows the unit he's with to be really tough, really chunky. You throw him in like a squad of Krieg with a Deathcore Marshal, and that Deathcore Marshal is going to give his ability to give Feel No Pain 5+, and then you're going to have the Psychic Barrier that'll give that squad a 4+ invulnerable save. So in the shooting phase, you're gonna have a really tough to move like Deathcore Krieg squad, especially if you got 20 guys in it. And then on top of that, they'll have the med pack too. So even if anything dies, there's a good chance that the die 3 dudes will just come back. Or 1 to 3 guys are just going to come back every turn. Yeah, you throw a Primaris Psyker into a squad of Deathcore Krieg, makes that squad real tough. Honestly, throw these guys into any squad, and it makes those squads super tough with the 4+ invulnerable save. Odds are it's going to be a 4+ invulnerable save. Inevitably, most of us will we'll just throw one and take die 3 mortal wounds, but that's just how it goes. Keywords for the Primaris Psyker: infantry, character Psyker, Imperium, and Primaris Psyker. Not that most of that matters, just means that he is what he is. And then let's take a look at the squads he can be attached to. Says where your options are none, he comes with the last pistol that you'll never use, and then he has the force weapon. His unit composition is just him. He comes equipped with last pistol, second maelstrom, and a force weapon. Then he's a leader. He can be attached to Cadian shock troops, Catachan jungle fighters, Deathcore Krieg, just straight infantry squads, Kasrkin, and Tempest the Scions. So the only foot unit he cannot be attached to are Ogryns and Ratlings for the most part. So these guys, man, these guys are great. Their price points a little on the beefy side at 60 points a pop, especially since they do have the inherent ability to kill themselves with the hazardous tests. But I don't see why you wouldn't use them. Universally, these guys are pretty solid, pretty good, especially if you build around them. Like I said with the example I gave, the Deathcore Krieg squad, but even like your regular infantry squads or Cadians or Catachans, it's all the same. It allows the Catachans to have some survivability to potentially get into close combat. Your infantry squads, they're usually going to squat objectives. It gives them that 4+ saving and shooting to keep them from getting decimated there. Your Cadian squads with their sticky objectives allows them to have the 4+ invulnerable while they're on the move. They're good. The Primaris Psyker is good. I'm actually happy to see them be decent because in the past they've always been the bitch brother to the Space Marine Librarian and just not good enough. These guys are good. They're not bad at all. They give you the ability to resist psychic powers as well. I mean, honestly, they're not bad. Their price point does make them a little challenging to throw into squads because they're worth as much as a squad. I mean, they're 60 points, so they cost as much as a 10-man squad of dudes. So there you go, guys. Primaris Psykers, they're decent. I definitely think that there's some neat tricks you can do with them, and especially pairing them up with Deathcore Krieg squads and Deathcore Marshals. They're freaking amazing. So there you go, guys. Please like and subscribe here on Broncos Gaming World. I appreciate your support. Been doing some live streaming of some Axis and Allies 1942 online. Been having a great time with that, and I've got some bizarro ass ideas for what I'm going to do down the line with some of that. And until next time, folks, please be safe and take care of yourselves.
Boom goes the dynamite.